Okay, let's get right into it. We've all seen those arguments online, right? The comment section wars over who really invented a certain dish. But what happens when that argument jumps off social media and into the world of international diplomacy? Well, today, we're going to peel back the layers on one of the most intense culinary claims out there, the true cultural ownership of some of Thailand's most iconic food.
I know, it sounds like a crazy question. Tom Yum Goong, that incredible, spicy, sour soup, it's pretty much the global postcard for Thailand. And yet, there's this persistent claim that its real roots are somewhere else. So is this just internet chatter, or is there something more going on here? You see, this is about way more than just a recipe. This is about history, it's about identity, and it's about national pride. And to get to the bottom of it, we have to cut through all the noise and the opinions and look at the cold, hard evidence. We're talking historical records, academic institutions, even the language itself. We're going to treat this like a real investigation.
So, first things first, our investigation starts by laying out the clear, documented history of Thai cuisine. We're looking for what you could call an unbreakable chain of evidence, a kind of cultural DNA that's been passed down, written about, and studied for centuries.
And this timeline just lays it out so perfectly. Look at how the evidence evolves. It starts way back in the Ayutthaya period, with art, masam and curry being described in royal poetry. Then it gets standardized in 1908 with the first ever printed Thai cookbook. And finally, it's institutionalized in 1934 with the first home economics school. You see that progression? From art to print to academy, that is a seriously solid legacy.
But you know what's really fascinating? This systematic approach isn't just in books or schools. It's literally baked into the Thai language itself. This is a huge point. Thai food names aren't just pretty-sounding labels. They are a logical, descriptive system. It's like a cultural code, a linguistic fingerprint that tells you exactly what you're getting.
And here are two perfect examples. Take Tom Yum Goong. It literally translates to boiled mixed shrimp. The name is the instruction manual. Or pad krapao, it means stir-fried holy basil. The name is the recipe. This system shows such a deep, evolved understanding of cooking that's been part of the culture for ages. It's not an accident, it's by design.
Now let's look at the hard copies, the written record. It's a pretty direct comparison. On the Thai side, you have Ma Kru Hua Pa, published in 1908, a super comprehensive guide to royal cuisine. On the Cambodian side, you have the first known cookbook, Kam Dak Bay, which came out a bit later, around 1915. And while it's an incredibly valuable piece of history, the key difference isn't just the date, it's what happened after it was published, and why the ability to study and build on that knowledge was tragically lost.
Okay, 1934. Burn this year into your memory. This is a pivotal moment. This is when everything shifts from just tradition to a formal national standard.
Because in 1934, Thailand established its first home economics school. This school would eventually grow into the world-renowned Suan Dusit University. This wasn't just a simple cooking class. No, this was the start of an unbroken academic tradition of studying, standardizing, and innovating Thai food. It's proof that this knowledge has been formally taught and developed for almost a century straight.
Okay, so now we have to turn our attention to the historical context for Cambodia. Because to really get the full picture, you have to understand the past. And for Cambodia, the 20th century was, frankly, a time of immense and tragic disruption.
I mean, just look at this timeline. It shows a nation in constant turmoil. In just a few decades, you see a kingdom become a republic, then fall under the brutal Khmer Rouge regime, followed by a foreign occupation, and then finally, a restored kingdom. This level of constant instability makes it almost impossible to maintain and pass down cultural knowledge in any kind of systematic way. And this is the most devastating part of the story. The Khmer Rouge didn't just take power. They tried to completely erase history. They systematically murdered anyone with an education, the teachers, the artists, the scholars, the very people who carry a nation's cultural memory. This was an act of cultural genocide, and it created this deep, painful void in the country's historical record.
So the result of all that tragedy is this. The chain of knowledge was shattered. While Thailand was busy building culinary universities and publishing cookbooks, Cambodia was losing its experts, its books, and its documented traditions. That continuity was just gone, and it left a vacuum that's been incredibly difficult to fill.
All right, so all of that history brings us to the modern era. And with that context in our back pocket, we can now start to analyze the strategy behind these culinary claims. Because this isn't just about food anymore. This is about nation building and international relations.
The year 2011. This is when the whole argument exploded from just online forums onto the international stage. And it was all because of one specific event.
And there it is, an official statement from a diplomat to a major international news agency. This single interview is what took the claim from internet chatter and turned it into a matter of public diplomacy. It was a calculated move designed to plant a whole new narrative in the global consciousness.
Now, this kind of tactic actually has a name. It's called gastrodiplomacy. It's a recognized form of soft power. It's where countries use their food to win friends and influence people abroad. Understanding this concept is absolutely key to seeing how these food claims can be used as a tool in a modern nation-building strategy.
And this isn't just happening randomly. Research shows it's a very clear three-level strategy. First, on a symbolic level, you connect common foods in the region to this grand narrative of an ancient empire. Second, on a policy level, you use the government to cherry-pick evidence that supports your claims. And finally, the operational level, you use digital media to blast this new story across the world, especially to an English-speaking audience.
So after going through all the evidence from both sides, what's the verdict? What we have is a narrative built on a story of ancient association versus a claim built on a long, continuous, and documented historical record.
I mean, this table just lays it all out. When you put the records side by side, the picture becomes crystal clear. Thailand has earlier written records, an unbroken institutional legacy going back to 1934, and a systemic knowledge base that's literally part of its language. Cambodia's record, while absolutely rich in its own history, suffers from a documented, tragic disruption. And now, that history is being used as part of a modern nation-building strategy.
And that brings us right back to our core idea. The cultural DNA of Thai cuisine isn't about one single recipe. It's the entire ecosystem of evidence, the poetry, the cookbooks, the university programs, the linguistic codes. All of it forms an unbroken chain stretching back for centuries. That is what makes a cultural claim truly verifiable.
So, the evidence really does speak for itself. The question for the future isn't about winning arguments online. It's about stewardship. When you have a cultural legacy this clear and this well documented, the real challenge becomes, how do we best protect it, celebrate it, and share its amazing story with the rest of the world in a way that's both proud and positive? What does the next chapter look like? Well, that's something for all of us to think about.